We're gonna get started in about 30.
Brian, we can't hear you.
Carol, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, we're gonna get started in 10 seconds. Just gonna pull up the agenda.
Okay. I'm here. I'm here now. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Laura.
That's okay.
All right. This is Brian Leighton. It is 3:11 p.m. on Friday, January 17th, 2025. I am calling the special meeting of the school committee to order. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcast at a later date over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. The first item on the agenda is public comment. Do you have any public comment from the public? Feel free to unmute yourself. All right, seeing none. Is there any public comment from the committee? All right, seeing none. The next item on the agenda is executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
I would make a motion to go into executive session for the reasons mentioned before.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a roll call vote.
Mrs. Archambault,
Yes,
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
and Mr. Leighton.
Yes. Thank you. We'll be back shortly.
Hello, this is Brian Leighton, the chair of the school committee. We are back from executive session. We're just waiting for all the members to come back so we have a quorum in the main room. We'll get started shortly. Laura, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Sorry, it just moved me I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So it is 3:44 p.m. We're back in our the school committee meeting. The next item on the agenda is public comment. I'll open it up to public comment from the public. Seeing none, is there any public comment from the committee? All right, seeing none. The next item on the agenda is new business. We have an action item on the search committee. This was the purpose of the meeting. At our last school committee meeting, the school committee assigned myself and Ms. Archambault for the search committee for the new superintendent because our superintendent will be retiring at the end of the school year. Carol and I were able to meet to review some materials. We did get some contact from the LEA leadership, giving us some information about the past search for Dr. Burnham, and also we had some great information from Liz Peterson too, giving us a lot of the information from the last search as well. We reviewed that, and based off of the last search committee, they had, I believe it was a 12-person committee, a diverse group of people that would go through the search process and help with the search process. And also, job postings are typically posted and approved by the school committee. So we wanted to make sure that the school committee approved that, as well as creating a screening committee to search for the new superintendent. And then also we drafted up some dates to show the process. At the last school committee, we also discussed looking at internal candidates first, with the possibility that we would look for external candidates if there was no internal candidates that we wanted to hire. So the files are in the folder. We can discuss during the meeting, as well as share with the public as well. Carol, is there anything else you wanted to add? Just getting the kids off the bus.
There we go. For some reason, all of a sudden, the buttons are in a different place. Okay, no, I don't have anything else to add, except for that Brian has been extremely diligent about getting all of this done. We looked first at the composition of a committee, and we spent some time on that. And that composition is in the folder, what we came up with. And basically, what we did is we took the information that Mrs. Peterson had in the folder from before, and it's talking about now the blurb you see is the ad that we would put out. And I'll just read it because we can't share it. The Lunenburg School Committee is seeking community members to join a 12-person screening committee to assist in the search for a new superintendent of schools. The Lunenburg School Committee is currently searching for highly qualified candidates to apply for the position of superintendent of schools, which has become available for the 2025-26 school year. The screening committee will receive applications, interview candidates, and recommend candidates to the school committee as finalists for the position. Much like the process the town just went through to hire the new town manager. The Lunenburg School Committee is committed to assembling a screening committee that reflects the diversity of our school and broader community, to join with 2 school committee members to serve on the screening committee. People who serve on the screening committee should be able to attend several meetings, including the candidate interview sessions. The list of meeting dates is February 12th, February 27th, March 3rd, March 6th, March 10th, and March 12th if needed. Future dates would be added if necessary. Many tasks must be accomplished during these meetings, so members should plan to be available for up to 3 hours nightly, with the earliest weekday start time of 6 p.m. Selecting a new superintendent of schools is an important activity for the entire community, and it requires an extraordinary commitment of time and energy. If you are interested in serving on the superintendent of schools screening committee, please forward a letter of interest to Brian Leighton, Chair, Lunenburg School Committee. It gives his email address no later than Friday, January 31st, 2025. In your letter, please include any school or community organizations you are affiliated with, as well as how your background, experiences, or perspectives as a parent or community member can contribute to creating a representative and inclusive committee. The school committee will appoint the members of the screening committee from the candidate pool at the school committee meeting on February 5th. So that is the ad that we hope will give us a strong committee with which to search.
We had discussed getting an email out from Dr. Burnham out to the school community, as well as posting it in the library, posting it in the senior center, and just reaching out to people too, to share it as much as we can, get it on the Facebook page as well.
The town website.
Town website as well. Yeah. Thank you, Carol. I could read the, we also have the other files. We have the job posting too. I could read that as well. So internal job posting, Superintendent of Lunenburg Public Schools, an invitation to apply. The Lunenburg School Committee invites qualified candidates to apply for the position of Superintendent of Schools. This posting is open exclusively to current employees of the Lunenburg Public Schools. The successful candidate will provide visionary leadership, inspire educational excellence, and serve as the Chief Executive Officer for our district, overseeing all operations and programs. Position overview: the superintendent will lead the district in achieving its vision and mission, oversee curriculum instruction, financial management, and district operations, work collaboratively with the school committee, staff, and community to set and achieve strategic goals, advocate for public education with local, state, and federal entities, serve as a highly visible and accessible leader within the Lunenburg community. Qualifications: current employee of Lunenburg Public Schools required for this internal posting, licensed or eligible for licensure as a superintendent of schools in Massachusetts, a master's degree required, an advanced degree is preferred, a minimum of 10 years of experience in education with demonstrated leadership experience. Selection criteria: the ideal candidate will inspire faculty and staff to achieve excellence and reconnect with their passion for education, demonstrate strong communication skills and a commitment to community engagement, possess exceptional financial management skills, including budget development and implementation, lead by example in fostering equity, inclusion, and innovative educational practices, lead the district in curriculum development, instructional practices, and initiatives to improve student achievement. Salary and contract: salary is negotiable and commensurate with experience. Benefits and contract terms will be negotiated with the school committee. Application process: interested applicants should submit the following: a letter of interest, which includes your key qualifications, a vision for the district, how your leadership would support the district's mission and goals, and your approach to fostering and thriving educational environment for students and staff, a current resume, 3 professional references. Submit applicants to Brian Leighton, Chair, Lunenburg School Committee. Applications must be received no later than 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. That date, again, is a placeholder. We can adjust that today as well. Timeline, application deadline, the preliminary interviews, potentially March 3rd, 6th, and 10th. Finalists announced March 6th to the 14th. Public interviews during March and April. Appointment vote in April. Start date July 1, 2025. Equal opportunity employment statement. Lunenburg Public Schools is committed to maintaining a work and learning environment free from discrimination. We welcome and encourage applications from candidates of all backgrounds, recognizing the strengths that diversity brings to our schools. And then the last thing that we had was just, we had multiple drafts of potential timelines, couple plans of potential timelines for the superintendent search. We had looked at potentially this week approving a job posting. The search committee ad posted as well. Applications due by January 31st. That would give 2 weeks. The February 5th school committee meeting, we could appoint that subcommittee based off of the applicant pool. On February 12th, we could start getting the subcommittee initial meeting, intro, expectations, goals, and pass out resumes that we've received for the committee to review. February 15th to the 23rd is school vacation week. We would take that week off. February 27th, the subcommittee would discuss and decide if any of the applicants were eligible to be semifinalists to interview. And then March 3rd, 6th, 10th, and 12th, as needed, would be interviews in the subcommittee to determine if there's any finalists to push forward towards the school committee. March 19th, the school committee could interview. April 2nd, or potentially an off-cycle date, the school committee could interview. April 16th, the school committee could vote for the superintendent on an internal candidate. We would also have school committee listening sessions for the public and for staff. Separate meetings, separate sessions, one for the public, at least one for the public and at least one for the staff, where they can let school committee members know what they're looking for in a superintendent, especially if they're not on the committee. Additionally, we did want to provide room for a external search if we needed to do that, if there was no internal candidates that the school committee had approved and the search committee approved. So the timeline for an external search could potentially be March 24th to the 28th at the school committee meeting, approve and post the job externally, due potentially in the middle of April. After that, in the middle of April, the subcommittee would have another initial meeting for the external candidates to review resumes, discuss, and decide if there's any semi-finalists to interview. April 19th to the 27th is the school vacation week. We would take that week off, and then April 28th, 30th, and 1st, we could have interviews within that subcommittee to determine if there's any finalists. And then May 5th to the 9th, the school committee could have their interviews. And then either May 7th or the 12th to the 16th, the school committee could have a superintendent vote, which would get us to the May 18th Lunenburg town election. And again, same thing, we would have the listening sessions for public and for the staff during the external search as well. There's also a plan B in the folder of dates. It just expedited the dates a little bit quicker. But that's also an option. We can revise those dates. If we do any of the plan B dates, we would obviously have to change the ad to reflect that. What questions or comments do the committee members have?
I like Plan B. I think it's a little tighter. I wish Plan B was a little tighter too. I think that we need to be really respectful of the search committee's time. I think that the internal candidates, we already know a lot of. I think we need to be a little more respectful of the search committee's time, especially in regards to the running an internal and then external search. I think, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to jump on you.
I honestly think that I everyone in the district already knows there's a job opening and has probably been working on polishing up their resume. I know our next meeting, getting a subcommittee together is going to be the tight point, but I feel like we could even tighten up the internal one a little.
So that was the challenge for me, is how, so our next meeting is on the 22nd. If we had a special meeting, that could work, but this appointing the subcommittee, we're not gonna have time to appoint them for the 22nd. So then that leads you to the February 5th meeting to do the appointments. So
That's-
really that you don't need the applicants of the superintendent search to submit before, say, February 4th, because we're not gonna be able to meet until after the 5th.
Yeah,
So that was the only other thing. We could change the dates, but we would have to do a special.
I'm okay with that
meeting.
because I think I don't want to
Maybe.
lose valuable time. I think, and I also,
So I guess that's the challenge, is I think the internal candidates are probably ready, but I don't know if the search committee candidates are going to be ready within a week to
I
get
think as
people.
the school committee, we're going to have to do work finding people and doing outreach, getting 10 good candidates that represent a good breadth of the community,
Mm.
breadth of the community. I think that's going to be a little bit of work on our part.
Yeah, maybe it's potentially having a special meeting on maybe January 29th to appoint. If we wanted to do a special meeting. That
I'd
would
be
bump
okay.
you up a week, so you could get the February 3rd to the 7th to have our first meetings.
Yeah, and then
You
just
could do
get them
interviews
up and
before
running, and
February
then
vacation.
Be okay with that? I think we probably, obviously, the applications then would be due by like the 28th.
Yeah, it could be even due by
um,
the school committee meeting or the day before.
Yeah,
But that
Um,
was the challenge. I was trying to do it without making special school committee meetings, but if we need to, then
because they
Mm,
are not
it
often
makes
well
sense.
attended.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if we go through the internal candidates, and like, where do we have a discussion if we may want to do an interim? I don't want to have that discussion now, but like, would it be if we don't get external candidates, good
I
external
think that would be
candidates? Is
my
that
thought.
when
Is
that
if
shows
we're
up?
posting external and we don't get any candidates, or the screening committee that
Isn't
says,
that-
okay, you guys don't have any good candidates, we would
Then look for an
internal for an internal interim.
Okay,
And I think
Oh.
like we had said, I think we have 6 candidates, 6
certified people. on staff.
certified people, so we could
Yeah.
find an interim out of those 6 people, just to get a longer search for an external, or a more national search, or maybe a more marketed search with an MASC search.
Because once, if, I mean, and that's a discussion for after, if the internal doesn't pan out. But if we go to an external, we've got to figure out, are we getting help with this, or how are we doing it?
I think we should.
I think if you're gonna do an external search, you should do it with help.
With the MASC.
I think we should. Yeah. I think that
But that can be a conversation for after,
Yeah, we can set that up to decide after the internal search.
right? Because if we
That
find
doesn't go
someone internal,
well, we want to do an external, and then decide how we want to do the external.
yeah, I think so. I don't think there's need to do that ahead of time.
No, I think we can keep it as an agenda item too, on the school committee, the regular school committee meetings too. So as things come up, we can keep those conversations going.
and I mean, I know it stinks adding extra meetings, but this is something we're gonna have to do right now because we're going into a rough budget season and we're looking for a superintendent, and we're just gonna have to do what we gotta do and figure it out.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think the people that you're going to get on this 10-person committee, 12-person committee are the people who are committed, that if it's not a good fit for the internal, we'll move on to the external, and they're going to put in that work because they want to get a good superintendent. So I'm not concerned about the timeline. I do know that it could be less meetings. Like we could have two
If there
meetings
are
instead of
less.
3 prior and so on. Like some dates might not be needed, and it just depends on how many people apply to that, how many interviews and how many nights we have to interview. So we can definitely condense the dates more. I like that idea, and we can have special school committee meetings as long as we have at least 3 of us to show.
Yes, we can.
And we can appoint that committee a little sooner and get the dates going a little sooner.
Yeah, and for the listening sessions, those don't have to be school committee meetings, and I don't mind taking some of those, but I do think we need to involve the public in ways that isn't just the search committee, and I think we need
Right.
to make the teachers feel heard and part of it.
Yeah, I think if we all take one, maybe go 2-person to each
Yeah.
listening session, we can plan it around our time. Maybe work it through Kate or work it through me, that we can set up times and locations and reserve rooms. I think that will work out well.
Okay.
Because I think it is vital for everybody to be heard. We've definitely heard from union leadership, but we haven't heard a lot from the public, and I think a lot from the staff too. So that'll be good to hear.
Yeah, I'd like to
the
hear
concerns.
directly.
Because I think any change, it's people are nervous, people get scared about change, so it's definitely
Okay.
good to have them
Yeah,
get to speak
Change
to
is hard.
and their
I want to hear
concerns.
directly from people about hopes for the future and that kind of thing, and make them feel a part of this. Okay, yeah, as because I think this is going to end up getting pushed back some, so as much as we can tighten it up in the beginning, the better. Because we're also doing a budget in the middle of this.
Yeah, I like that
Um,
idea. I think as long as we can pull off a special meeting, I think that'll be a good idea to expedite the process. Yeah. So the superintendent search committee really wanted to bring this to the school committee so we can get a vote to approve the job posting. So that was part of the action item. And then also to approve this more diverse group, that it isn't just me and Carol, that we want to do a screening.
Okay, when you say
committee of,
job
12
posting,
people.
approve the superintendent job posting?
Yes,
Yeah.
the internal job posting, and to approve the screening committee, search committee ad,
Okay.
screening committee ad.
Do you want a motion?
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve the internal job posting superintendent of Lunenburg Public Schools as read by Chair Brian.
Second,
Any discussion? All right, ready for a roll call vote?
Okay. Mrs. Ashambo,
yes.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Leighton.
Yes. I don't think we need to approve the dates. We can adjust those dates like we had talked about
Yep,
tonight,
we'll-
and make those adjustments, but I do want to approve the screening committee, that we'll do a screening committee of 12 people, I believe it says.
I would put in a motion to approve the screening committee document.
Oh, actually, hold on.
Oh,
Did we want to, sorry, does the screening
okay.
committee, sorry, does the screening committee specifically take people, like, do we have a member of the select board? Do we have a member of like the council on aging? Did we want to make sure that it's not just 10 parents?
So that's what we're going to do on the 22nd. So we're going to get all the applicants, and then we're going to create the diverse pool together as a school committee.
Okay, but I just, in the screening committee search call, did we want to specify that, or did we just want to call for everyone?
We're calling for everyone. Yeah, I think that's, and I think we can reach out, like us as individuals, reach out, tell people like, hey, you should probably apply. You would be a great person for this committee. And
Okay.
hope that we get a good diverse group.
We certainly could speak to the chair of the select board and, see if somebody is willing to spend
Yeah,
some
like-
time on this.
And they're infinite.
Like last time, the chief of police was on there, so we talked about, okay, maybe chief police, or maybe the
Or
fire
maybe
chief,
the
maybe it's the SRO. So
Yeah.
having
I
those
think the-
conversations.
The SRO might be nice because he works, but yeah,
Exactly.
Dr. Burnham might have, do you have any suggestions actually? As
Some
far,
might be a
because
good dynamic.
you're the one, your role is the one that works with people.
So,
I do recall, my committee, Chief Marino was on the committee. They're appointing a new chief to the police department, so maybe Chief Sullivan from the fire department, having had some longevity here in the district, having worked with me and the previous superintendent, he might have some perspective that could be valuable.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
Because they do both participate on the district safety team, the chief, both chiefs, as well as our SROs.
Okay.
All right. So the screening committee was just really, or the search committee was just looking for approval to create this 12-person screening committee.
Okay, motion to put out the call for the screening committee as written.
Yeah, we just might have to adjust the dates too, that's all, but we do dates as needed.
Yeah, with the dates adjusted and needed, but motion to put out a call for the screening committee with the description as written.
I will second that.
Any discussion? Ready for a roll call vote?
Mrs. Ashambo,
Yes,
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Leighton.
Yes. All right, thank you, everyone. Is there anything else that people wanted to discuss on the screening committee, the superintendent search? Seeing none, we will continue on with the agenda. And the next item on the agenda is public comment. I'll open up to public comment from the public. You just unmute yourself or raise your virtual hand. All right, seeing none, any public comment from the committee? All right, I'll look for a motion to adjourn at 4:09 p.m.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any discussion? All right, we're ready for a roll call vote.
Mrs. Ashambo,
Yes.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Leighton.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Have a good
you.
weekend.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.